I am going to try and explain some of the things I'm just finding out about some of the struggles I've been going through. And this is just my testimony, and I'm not going to be trying to teach anyone. I'm just trying to share from my heart some of the things I'm going through and wanting you, my family and friends, to be a bit sympathetic to me in regard to why it might be that I don't feel like keeping up with you, or why I can't do things I used to do. It's not for any other reason than my health issues. I still desire to go do and be be the active person I used to be. Although I can look back and see times that even in my teens that I had issues with what I'm now struggling with so badly that I have now had to quit my job. And so anyway, after years of going to doctors and feeling frustrated that I wasn't able to keep up with my desires of being the outdoorsy type of person I desired to be and the lifestyle I wanted to keep up. Like in high school, I lettered in every sport other than baseball, but I didn't want to stay in high school for a fifth year so that I could do that. But anyway, point being that I have always thought of myself as a very active, energetic person that liked to do outdoorsy things. And as you can see now, I'm just even having a hard time talking because the more I talk, the less my muscles in my diaphragm are working. And I'm so glad that it isn't just what I've been told over the years by doctors, that maybe it's just anxiety and you just need an anti-anxiety pill. And it isn't just in my head, although your nervous system does stem from your head. They finally found this antibody in me that is called the ACH. Well, let me see. I have this booklet that I've just read, and let me just tell you some of the symptoms that it lists here. And I'll just read to you a little bit. Recognizing the symptoms of your generalized myasthenia gravis. My myasthenia gravis was tested positive for general myasthenia gravis, and it's the anti-acetylcholine receptor, the AChR antibody, positive general myasthenia gravis. That's the, I don't know if you can read all that, but yeah, I have generalized myasthenia gravis, which is great to find out that it's not just that I'm fat and lazy, or that I have been a hypochondriac, and both of which I was starting to wonder, because now in my 50s, I've been dealing with this for about half my life, and doctors haven't had an answer for me. And so I really had gone through all sorts of things trying to figure it out myself. And then not having insurance, I thought, and my neurologist thought maybe I had MS. And then also I thought, what's the point of getting that put on my record? Then insurance won't want me if I have that on my record, and my insurance, since I would become self-pay, would be astronomical to just get even catastrophic insurance. So I went years without going to the neurologist or having any more testing done because I didn't want to pay the premium of the expense of that. Now I can see that I may have even caused more damage to my muscle membranes because I haven't got those acetylcholine receptors stopped, or from the damage that they've been caused from this Myisthinia gravis. So this may be very confusing, but this is my first attempt to try and explain it, and I'm just learning the verbiage and trying to understand it a little bit. But I see my eye is starting to I think I forgot that's one of the symptoms is eye droop. And I don't know if you can see that, but it says the symptoms, I'll just go to that. Double vision or drooping eyelid, which impacts the activities such as driving, which I haven't been driving for the better part of a year. Gave up my car a couple years ago. And as you know, I love to ride motorcycle, but I haven't felt safe on that for several years. Not just because of my vision, but because of my stamina. Reading, yeah, the double vision was really affecting me visually. And actually, this double vision was the last thing I would admit I was having because of my hairdressing. Yeah, you can imagine I didn't want to admit that I was having double vision, so I'd blame it on my glasses being smudged because I rub my eyes a lot, or because the bifocals I have, that maybe I just wasn't seeing through my bifocal right. And so yeah, anything visual was becoming more and more difficult. And so difficulty speaking and chewing, talking, eating, and drinking. Yeah, well, I've obviously just kept compensating, and I would change my eating habits. Subconsciously, I went from making big salads with big chunky pieces to smaller and smaller pieces over the years. And now I just buy the chopped salad, or I will make a chopped salad because it's harder and harder. And now that I'm living in East Texas, I've been slurring my words and stuff, thinking that it was mostly just picking it up from the country girls that I worked with, and not realizing that that was also a symptom. Choking and difficulty swallowing, difficulty supporting my neck. That also causes eating and drinking and driving and exercise issues. In fact, the choking and difficulty swallowing, I've known for years that it was hard for me to take medications, and these are the medications that I've kept that didn't make me sick, that I keep for emergency type of issues like this gabapentin. These are both gabapentin, different strengths, and this one's 100 milligram and this one's a 300 milligram, prescribed for the fibromyalgia. I don't like taking it if I don't have to, if I'm not having real crisis or something, then I'm not going to take it because it makes my brain just cease and desist. Anyway, I have so many medications. I have another pile over here. But these are the ones I keep up in the cupboard for just emergency. Anyway, the sleeping issues that I've had, I thought was just because I have a small esophagus or something. That's what I was told by the sleep specialist. But now I'm finding out that that is actually part of this acetylcholine factor that I'm dealing with. And let's see what this is called. Dysautomia. And it could be part of the sympathetic system. You have your autonomic system that regulates things like your blood pressure and your anything that you don't think about that's happening. Your blood pressure, your pulse, it's regulated automatically. So anyway, that's a separate issue from the Myisthinia gravis that is in your muscle membrane of things that you do think about, like picking this basket up. And so the Myisthinia gravis, I've been tested for positively. I guess anything 0.02 and above is positive. Well, I was 22 point something, and so I was definitely tested positive for the Myisthinia gravis, the AChR antibody. But just yesterday, no, I guess it was day before yesterday, I went to the doctor, the 6th of June. I went to the doctor, Kerry Ampuza, he's my neurologist, and he, again, had me do this blood pressure while I was laying flat, and then upon rising, and my blood pressure went down and my pulse went way up. And that explains why I get the dizziness and feeling like just like on a roller coaster, or get nauseous. And anyway, so he thinks that I have something called POTS. I think it's called postural orthostatic I don't know. But anyway, POTS. I've gone to pot. But anyway, two different systems in your body. The POTS are the dysautomia, which is the stuff that you don't think about, and the system that you do think about, like raising your arm and opening your eyes, talking, those muscles that you engage on purpose. So I have some combination of the two dysfunctioning problems. The weaknesses and the tiredness and the difficulties. I was just going to show you what the Myisthinia gravis is. This is the connection. Your nerve. This is a nerve ending that sends the signal to your muscle to contract. And the more that your autoimmune system is blocking...
Powering off.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was on. Sorry. Your neuromuscular junction is what this is, and this is your nerve, and this is your muscle surface, and there's a membrane that these receptors are in. This is where your anti-AChR antibodies bind to the receptors normally reserved for acetylcholine, blocking the nerve muscle signal. This is where the anti-CHR antibodies bind to multiple acetylcholine receptors at once. So the more that the AChR antibody gets disrupted, the more those receptors get blocked, and the more they're disrupted or blocked, the less your nerve can make them move. So subsequently, just on the muscular side, you actually are like paralyzed, as if you had a brain injury, and there's a connection between your nerve and your muscle not getting the reception. You become paralyzed. Well, this isn't a problem in the nervous system so much as the connection between the nervous system and the nerves. The muscle. So the muscle will just act paralyzed. It's not that the muscle's gone, although the less you can make it move, the less muscle you're going to develop. So I go and exercise and I get exhausted. I now am just walking out my front door and exhausted. So sometimes when I've gone to just get up in the morning and move my legs off the bed seems impossible. It seems like, oh, my legs are paralyzed. And the first time that happened to me, I was still living up in Klatskanai. And it was right after George had died. And they say that stress can cause flares. And this is a chronic disease. And so it has flares and ups and downs. I have been kind of keeping a log. This is a log of what I've been doing. I don't know if you can see that, but keeping record for my doctor every day what my symptoms are. And I've most recently been in a flare again. Although in January, by the time I got to the doctor, I was feeling better. And then all of a sudden, after Rosemarie died, I went into another flare. So I realized I'm having flares more often with less stress in my life, but they're lasting longer. And it's because I've had it for so long, I guess, that those muscles are just breaking down and I'm not able to keep up with what I've used to love doing, like exercising so much or doing outdoor adventure type of things. And also the dysautomia or whatever, dysautomia, which affects my blood pressure, would also regulate your body heat and all those things that you don't think about have prevented me from a lot of the fun type of things that I used to enjoy. I cannot handle the heat. That's another stressor. So I'm still trying to figure out which is which in, I guess it doesn't matter, but trying to figure out what could I do to correct some of these things. Obviously, stressors could be your health, the heat, emotional, physical stresses. So it's all of that. I'm sorry this is so long, but I really hope that you'll take the time to try and understand. I'm doing all the things that I know to do. I'm trying to keep the Sabbath by resting, and now I see God's sovereignty in calling me to the Sabbath, and He's, called all of us to rest the Sabbath and making it one of the 10 Commandments. He wants us to rest in Him. And I can see God's sovereignty so much in all of what's happening because of needing to rely on Him and pressing into Him. Now I can reflect on what He's been telling me for years and see that it's been really sweet. So anyway, the eye droop, the double vision, the impaired ability to brush your teeth or comb your hair. I asked Rosalind the other day, she's a girl I've worked with, and she's been doing my hair over a year because I've been having difficulty even raising my arms to wash my hair. I'm not wearing makeup, or it doesn't even look like I brushed my hair because I can only do all that for a few minutes before I'm just exhausted. And you can see the droop in my face right now. I'm seeing it. It's, I can make it go back up to normal, but, yeah. Pretty soon it'll go back down, and anyway, I can't help it. And so if you think I'm frowning at you sometime, I hope you don't get your feelings hurt, because it's just my face. I can't I can't regulate it. And so please don't think I'm frowning at you or not being my normal expressive self. I can't always control it, especially if I'm really tired after a long day, or if I've been talking a lot. Yeah. So anyway, along with that score thing, this is what I've been doing on a note sheet instead of on here. Like talking might just be a little bit, but I've realized I've quit talking so much. So see, God's sovereignty is for Vaughn not to have to listen to me talk so much, right? Chewing, you would think that would be great too, because I wouldn't eat so much, or but I've found puddings and things that go down easier instead of a lot of anyway, I've compensated in many areas for a long time. The scariest thing for me is the breathing. When I've had a hard time breathing, that's the scariest thing for me. Arising is right here, needing assistance to stand up. And the eye droop, I've noticed being more and more on a daily basis. Sometimes it's been really funny because it'll be both eyes, and I I look like a different person than I'm just surprised sometimes. And some of you have said that in my pictures, I don't even look like myself. And the double vision, I'm finally realizing that I'm not dependable at work. And so I've had to quit my job, and but I'm still going there once a week to get my hair done. And then Vaughn is having to shampoo and blow dry my hair, or I'll just let it dry naturally. And that's frustrating for me. I think it's hard for Vaughn. It's hard to not get depressed about. I think I went through a deep depression a few years ago, and before this was diagnosed. And but now I'm so glad to know that it's not just a mental health issue, that I actually have something tangible. It's not just like the fibromyalgia that I've been diagnosed with that seems kind of, well, is it or isn't it real? And there's no way to test it. And maybe it's all in my head. Maybe I really am just anxious and all these things that the doctors have told me. I've had quite a few medical people come to me as a hairdresser, and I've found that a lot of doctors don't even believe in fibromyalgia. And so that's been very hard for me. I haven't wanted it to be on my file because I don't want people to think I'm just making things up or just need to have a diagnosis. I'm not trying to seek attention. I am trying to seek understanding and a sane mind that justifies how my body's acting. Because you start feeling crazy when I look outside and I see, oh, the lawn needs to be mowed and I need to go mow it. The reality check is I'm having a hard time walking across the room. So what makes me think I can mow that lawn? Well, my mind wants to go out there and work in the yard. I love having a nice, beautiful lawn and a beautiful flower bed and cut flowers inside. But my body's not letting me do that anymore. And here in Texas, it's really hard to go out there and work in the yard in this heat, because that's another trigger that makes me feel bad. So anyway, I've carried on, droned on. Now it says 28 minutes. I'm so sorry I went and took this much time, but I just wanted to show you how many pills I'm on a daily basis. So I'm being compliant. These are the medications I'm on right now. I don't want to be on this steroid. I'm hoping to get off it. So puffy face, desire to eat everything, including the paint on the wall. But the Metadrine that they normally use to treat you made me terribly sick. the Metadrine, that's for my blood pressure. I actually get them all confused. So the Metadrine keeps my blood pressure up. That's why I still have this. Methadone, no, not methadone. Well, whatever it was that they first put me on for the Myisthinia Gravis made me really sick. So that's probably why I threw it away. And this, the Cellcept, he just took me off of so that I can get on a new drug, which is given intravenously, and I'll probably get a port or something if I get on this. I'm really hoping to get on this because it's the first medication specifically made for this antibody. And And this medication, the Cellcept, is something that they give that attacks your immune system. I want to have an immune system, so I don't want it to shut down all of it, just that AChR receptors. So that's why they give you steroids too. That's for your immune system. Anyway, I can't talk anymore, and you probably are overwhelmed, so I'll stop. Thank you for listening, and if you need to know more, please call me. Thank you. Love you guys. Bye.